Hey everyone, welcome back to The Explainer. Let's just jump right in today, shall we? We are taking a really fascinating look at human progress, but through a very specific lens. I've spent 3 decades in the trenches of actuarial science and risk management. My day job was quite literally calculating probabilities, modeling absolute worst-case scenarios, and fundamentally trying to put a price tag on uncertainty. And in that world, honestly, in our personal lives too, there is this constant gripping tension. It's the tug of war between our natural evolutionary fear of making mistakes and our desperate fundamental desire for progress. So we're going to deconstruct the architecture of innovation today to see exactly why risk isn't just some annoying byproduct of success. It's actually the absolute foundation of it. So I want to toss a question out there and just let it hang in the air for a second. Is perfection the enemy of progress? I mean, think about it. From our earliest days in school all the way through our professional careers, we are completely conditioned to chase the flawless record, right? A totally clean sheet, zero errors. But if we put on our risk management hats for a minute and look at the actual hard data of human achievement, a flawless record starts to look, well, highly suspicious. It forces us to ask, if you're operating entirely without error, are you actually anywhere near the frontier of your capabilities? I'll tell you, in the actuarial world, if I see a risk model where the probability of loss is absolute zero, I immediately know one of two things. Either the model is completely broken, or the asset we're talking about is locked in a vault somewhere doing absolutely nothing. So keep your own relationship with risk in mind as we jump into our main text today. Okay, let's dive into Section 1, the fear of failure, the hesitation to take risks. Moving right along to Section 2, the core axiom, 12 words on innovation. To truly grasp this dynamic, we've got to strip away all the complex corporate jargon and look at the absolute foundational math of human endeavor. We're going to look at a single, incredibly profound sentence. Listen to the exact phrasing here. Anyone who has never made a mistake has never tried anything new. Let those 12 words really sink in for a moment. I don't want you to treat this like just another piece of fluffy motivational advice. Treat it as a rigid, undeniable axiom. It's literally an equation for progress that holds true whether you're pricing insurance premiums for a giant multinational corporation or just sitting at home trying to learn a new language. This text establishes an unyielding boundary condition about the cost of entry for innovation. You simply cannot purchase the new without spending the currency of a mistake. Which brings us to Section 3, the illusion of perfection, analyzing the absolutes. Now, what's really interesting here is the language. When analyzing risk, we pay extreme attention to absolutes. And the source text doesn't say most people or generally speaking. It says anyone, and it actually uses the word never twice. That leaves exactly zero room for exceptions, none. When we break down these absolutes, we find this inextricable link between the two concepts. On the left side of our ledger, we have the condition, never made a mistake. On the right side, we have the guaranteed outcome of that condition, never tried anything new. If you balance this equation, an absence of mistakes absolutely guarantees an absence of novelty. If your error rate is zero, your innovation rate is exactly zero. It completely dismantles the illusion of perfection by stating, mathematically, that perfection and innovation are mutually exclusive states. You can't have both. Conceptually, it's brilliant, and the strict logic is undeniable. Imagine we create a massive data set of every single person on Earth who has never made a mistake. Well, 100% of that population belongs directly in the category of people who have never tried anything new. There is no tiny little sliver of a percentage for some mythological genius who just innovates flawlessly. The dataset of zero mistakes is completely and entirely swallowed by the dataset of zero novelty. All right, Section 4, risk as a prerequisite, the cost of the new. So if avoiding mistakes means we are avoiding the new, what happens when we actively seek it out? Well, we enter a space where risk is no longer just a potential side effect. It becomes a mandatory prerequisite. New is basically defined as an action or attempt that inherently carries the risk of a mistake. In my 3 decades of risk management, the most dangerous thing a company can do is misprice risk. But the second most dangerous thing, that's assuming that novel endeavors can be stripped of risk entirely. It's just not possible. Novelty is fundamentally bound to the probability of error. The unknown, literally by definition, cannot be perfectly navigated on your first attempt because the map doesn't even exist yet. Making the mistake is the actual process of drawing the map. Think of innovation as requiring mandatory procedural steps. Step 1, try something new. Step 2, make a mistake. You just cannot separate the act of trying from the probability of the outcome. They are a package deal. If you're going to engage in the first step, you absolutely must be prepared to underwrite the cost of the second. The mistake isn't some weird deviation from the plan. The mistake is a required step within the plan of innovation.
Section 5. Embracing the unknown. The equation of progress.
And all of this brings us to a really powerful realization. When we finally internalize that mistakes are the inherent accepted cost of novelty, our entire risk profile changes. We stop trying to completely eliminate risk, which, as we've proven, is mathematically the exact same thing as eliminating progress, and we start learning how to intelligently manage and absorb those inevitable errors. So the crucial point is, there are two foundational takeaways to remember. First, mistakes indicate effort. They are the tangible data points proving that you are operating at the absolute edge of your current capabilities, pushing into the unknown. Second, zero mistakes equals stagnation. It is the actuarial equivalent of a flatline. It literally just means you are only doing what you already know how to do perfectly. Which brings us to our final thought for today. If our source text is right, and mathematically, logically, experientially it absolutely is, if mistakes are the absolute proof of trying something new, what does a flawless record really mean? I really encourage you to look at your own life, your own projects, your own track record. If you aren't making any mistakes, what exactly are you avoiding? And more importantly, what incredible new thing are you missing out on just because you're too busy playing it safe? Keep calculating your risks for sure, but always remember, the biggest risk of all is trying nothing new. See you next time.